Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Camera Artist Guild. What used to be was last week and will be again next week, the Thursday critique, but it's on Friday. I was really tied up yesterday and couldn't make it. I had a family requirement. My grandson had his birthday party, and I'm a proud grandpa, man. I got to be there. So I was there for my grandson's birthday party. I couldn't tell him no, no, and I didn't want to tell him no. So I did that. So I'm glad that you guys are indulging me and coming in on Friday. We have a fantastic program planned today. We got some good images to look at, but we've also got a guest photographer. Now I'm going to start bringing on guests from other photographers from around the world that have ability and different ways of looking things, and to act as an inspiration and as a place of knowledge, and to just kind of share with everything, because I know how important it was for me to have somebody. So before we go any farther into it, I'm going to switch over. I'm going to introduce Kendrick. It's Kendrick Brown, and we will get let's see, he is away from the camera right now. So I will wait for him to come back, and when he gets back, okay, he's back. And here we go.
I'm here.
Here we go. Welcome. This is Kendrick Brown. He is one of my buddies from up in Central California, and Kendrick is a phenomenal photographer. But more than that, he is a major businessman. He is a player in the industry, and underneath Kendrick's bed is a printing press for money. He has a way of just really going at it, and I wanted to be able to share some of that with you. And he works in sports photography, and
Right.
at least I imagine that was the way I'd introduce it. How do you see yourself? What explain how you do? Can you hear me?
High
Okay.
volume photography, be it action photography, sports action. I can hear you fine. There's a little bit of a delay
Okay.
between what I see and what I hear.
Okay. Well, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain and go ahead and take it and run with it. Because looks like we're on some kind of a delay.
All right, let me see if I can. Yeah, there's quite a bit of delay, but anyhow, Kendrick Brown with Cap Photos in my business, 𝐥𝐤𝐤𝐞.com. And we're up here in Northern California. We shoot action photography as well as team and individual photography. So everything is based on volume. We've been shooting since 2005, and we are Canon shooters.
Phenomenal. I am definitely sorry for the delay. I don't know what's going on, because it wasn't when we did the sound check, there wasn't a delay, and all of a sudden it's begun going out over the air. But can you explain what
Exactly.
yeah, can you explain what high volume photography is?
Absolutely. As far as action photography, which is what we started with in 2005, we go out to youth events, be it football, baseball, the larger participation sports. We set up a booth out there and we offer our products to the parents. We offer our products to the parents who come to watch their kids play the games. And they sign up, and sign up includes signing a release and making an initial deposit. That initial deposit is $75 per kid. And the average order, when it's said and done, ends up being about $130 per sign up. So that's what we do as far as the action. We've got a crew that goes out, depending upon how much business we expect. It may be 2 photographers, 3 photographers, and a booth personnel. It just depends on how big the event is or how many locations we'll be covering in the case of a baseball tournament or something like that. That morphed into team and individual. Those of you that had kids, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Picture day for baseball, softball, soccer, football, cheerleading, etc. Picture day. And we set up with the league a date and a time to go out there and photograph the kids. We give them a schedule when the kids are supposed to report for their individual photos, buddy photos, and team photos. And we just kind of keep it rolling all day. George, you've been with us out in Stockton and saw that part in action. So that is what we do. It's very lucrative. George mentioned the money side of the business. I didn't intend to start a business, to be honest. I just bought a Canon 30D from Costco with a kit lens and went out and was shooting some YMCA soccer. And people liked what I was doing and started asking, how do I get the images? And I just email them to them, and I'll come back out again the next week. And then they started saying, hey, you're that guy that shoots the action photography. I said, yeah, I'm that guy. So then we started gathering information and shooting specific kids rather than the game. We shot specific kids or specific clients. And that's where we are today, 15 or 17 years later. Now we're not taking just a piece of paper with the kid's name on it. We're taking a piece of paper plus a minimum of $75 for each kid that we photograph when we go out. So there's the volume for you. There's the description and how long we've been going, and just love what we do.
Well, now I know again. Pardon everybody. I certainly hope that there's not a delay of the broadcast going out like we're having. But forgive me. I'll work this thing out in later editions. Uh, just get an idea of how many do you photograph at $75 a pop? How many? What is your average daily number of children or kids or sports people that you photograph in an afternoon?
Right. Absolutely. It depends on the event that we're shooting. In the case of football, youth football, where we go out and there might be 4 games, we have a number that we're trying to hit each time we go out. And the things that we factor in is how far do we have to drive from our residence to the venue? How many games are we going to be covering? How many staff are needed to cover that event? And that's what we factor in. So if it's an event that's close to us, like 15, 20, 30 minutes from the house to get there, and it would be myself, my wife, and let's say 2 other shooters, the number we'd be looking at is 30 kids during those 4 games to photograph. Now, if you think about football and the potential customers that you have at a football game, let's just do some easy numbers. Youth football, let's say I've got 25 kids on each team. That's 50 kids as far as football. And then add in cheer. Let's just say they got 10 on each side. There's another 20. So you have 70 potential customers for each of these 4 games. Out of 70, we're only looking for like 8, 9, 10 kids out of 70 to sign up with us. And take that times 4, that gets us up to our 40, our 30 to 40 kids that we need. So if we're traveling a further distance, let's say an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours or a multi-day event, then we account for that as well. And we do the same kind of math on how many we need to make it a profitable event. Now, sometimes it's not just about the signups that you get for the game. It's about exposure and about being out there, being seen, being professional. And you may pick up an entire league just from being out there shooting action. There may be a president from a visiting team that contacts you and says, hey, we would like you to come out to our field. So the business grows upon itself just from being visible. So it's not just the signups, which is very lucrative, but it's also being seen and being visible and picking up other events. I call it the parlay, parlaying action into team and individual photography, which leads to more revenue.
Well, I understand that it has to do with, well, let's see, not I understand. What it has to do is with doing business. I know I studied with a guy named Bill Sorensen up in Oregon, who was probably the first $1 million photographer. And he used to always talk about you're constantly, he's called it the relentless pursuit of business, that you're constantly looking for new business and new business opportunities. But one of the things that is unique to what you were, well, not unique to what you're doing, but one of the things that makes sense when it comes to photography, and it is so difficult to get that point across. And we were talking about this earlier before we went on the air. Most people enter photography to photograph what they want to do, and they're photographing what they want to do and what they love to do, but it's not paying them. And so, in essence, I'd like to think of it as that
Right.
they really bought for themselves a job, and their boss, which is themselves, is a bad boss because they don't ever make any money. So they spend their entire lives doing photography and yet not getting paid for it. And after a while, it gets to be a real drain. The difference between trying to make a living and always squeezing to just barely get by, rather than entering into an area of photography and into a style and a business practice that produces good results and provides a good standard of living. And that's what you've done. You found an area of photography, you found something that pays well, and now you are massaging it and working it, as
Right.
opposed to somebody who, well, I think you mentioned, you talked to the some of the NFL photographers that have the all of the equipment, and they get all of the noise and they get all the excitement of the game, and they go home and they can't make their bills. So it's exciting to hear that this is an area of photography that is lucrative, and it doesn't mean that you have to give up doing what you
Mhm.
love doing. You can keep on doing what you love doing, but get paid and then spend some time doing what you love doing, rather than doing something that you love doing until you can't get paid enough for it, till you lose interest in it, and all of a sudden your love disappears. Man, I'm talking too much. Time delay, y'all.
That no, no, no. You're absolutely. We're on the same page when you talk about that, George. We are on the same page when you talk about that. You have to be able to support. Turn that one off for me. Turn my Bluetooth off.
Oh, okay. Because I was like, I can't hear.
Yeah. Well, it just has to do with the approach. And I've mentioned this so many times that the people are tired of hearing it, but I mention it again. Things didn't change for me until I decided I had the realization in it, and I mentioned the book again because it is definitive in my life. It was Michael Gerber's The E-Myth Revisited that explained to me exactly why I was struggling making a living. I had all of the awards that anybody would ever want. I've received top awards and honors from all over. I got all of the credentials that you can imagine: master photographer, craftsman, everything that anybody could ever accomplish in photography. It seems like I've accomplished, and I couldn't make my bills as far as paying for the studio every month. Now, somehow, thanks to the grace of God, I got through it, and I would get to the month, and God had come through with a job, and I was able to pay the mortgage again for another month. But I had gotten tired of living up against the wall all of the time, and I couldn't figure out how I could get all of the awards, do photographs raved about, and yet here I was poor. I investigated other photographers, and here's some numbers for you. Uh, right now, there are tons and tons of photographers that are barely getting by. The average American photographer makes grosses $43,000 a year. That's before
Wow.
taxes. And once you take taxes out and expenses out, you're down into the $20,000 to $30,000 a year, which is barely above the poverty line. And that is ridiculous for somebody who has all of the equipment, all of the time, all of the effort put into your business, and you don't get it. Yet there are other photographers that make a phenomenal amount of money. Some of them that come to mind: Peter Lick, who does landscape. Peter Lick is $107 million a year. And he's on the low end. There are a couple other people I can't think of them. I got it written down in one of the seminars that I was giving. But at the top of the mark is Annie Leibovitz, which makes $440 million a year. Now, what makes her photography that much better than mine? It's not.
Mhm.
What makes her photography that much better than yours? It's not. It's the fact she is a business person. She understands
Mhm.
business. And what Kendrick has done is figure out a way to enter this industry and make a good living. And I encourage each and every one of you to join in and to find that area of photography that's lucrative in your neighborhood, something that you can do in your skill set, and then pursue it with a relentless pursuit of business. Pursue it with all the energy that you can. And now we go back to the time delay.
Actually, I'm good now. I think it was my phone. I think I tapped into my phone at the same time, so I was hearing that. I turned that off, so now
Oh,
we're on sync now.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so good,
What
good,
do you?
good.
What is that? What am I saying, or what I'm saying? Does it make sense to you, or
It
does it?
absolutely makes sense. I think the example is that I use with a lot of people. I meet a lot of photographers when we're out shooting, and some of them are landscape photographers. Some of them are quote fashion photographers. You know, they'll find a model online or somebody that's cute and go out and take a bunch of pictures. And I'm like, well, how much did you make for that? They say, well, nothing. I just did a T for P, pictures, trade for time for prints. And I'm like, well, how do you make money with that? I said, you got some great landscape photos and pictures of cars and trains and water and all that. I said, have you ever considered putting a person in front of your landscapes, or a horse or a motorcycle or a car, something that people really care about, in front of your landscape photos and start making money? Oh, you know, I didn't think about that. And what I found, especially with the landscape photographers, is it's more about the fear of interacting with people. You know, they can
Mhm.
go out to some train tracks or some clouds or a sunset or whatever. They don't have to interact with anybody. It's just them and their camera and the environment, and that's what it is. But when it comes to working with people and talking to them and posing them and getting whatever kind of look it is you're trying to get out of them, that's where they struggle. So whatever it is that you enjoy doing, if it pays you as well, which is what we do, our photography, we enjoy it and it pays us, great, you hit the holy grail. But if what you enjoy doing does not pay the bills or pay your gear, or you are taking household money to continue to buy different gear because you think it's going to make you a better photographer, that's a problem. And it could be a problem that could lead into a divorce in some cases, when your spouse doesn't know how much money you're spending on this gear that's not bringing any money in. I had a conversation just 2 days ago with a guy. He found me on Facebook somehow, and he actually had attended one of my presentations at 𝐦𝐚𝐧𝐭. It was an online presentation, and we didn't know that until we started talking more. But he shoots, you know, the professional sports, the NFL, Major League Baseball, et cetera, et cetera. And he said he was on the waiting list for a 400 millimeter 2.8 mirrorless lens to go with his new Nikon. I think it's the Z6 II. And he said he was on the waiting list. I said, the waiting list? I said, what lenses do you have right now? He said he had a 400 2.8, but it was the older version. I said, okay. I said, now you're out there on the NFL sidelines and you're peeping out the other photographers who have this newest, greatest lens out there, and you want to have it. You have lens envy. My question is, how much is that lens going to cost you? And he said $14,000. I said, okay, let's break this down. First of all, you're paying money to shoot these games. So how many games do you have to shoot to recoup just your 14,000? Not make a profit, but just recoup your 14,000 when you're paying to shoot the games. And it went to crickets. I got no answer. And
Mhm.
then I said, let me just give you an example. I go out 20 minutes down the road to my local high school on a Friday night and just shoot varsity. Not even JV team, just the varsity game. It's about a 2-hour game, and it's 15-20 minute drive to get there, 15-20 minutes to get back. I said, we'll do $1,000 to $1,400 for that one game that's 15 minutes from my house. He goes, really? I said, exactly. And I'm not shooting with a $14,000 lens either. I said, now I've got a 400 2.8, a 300 2.8, a 200 f2. I got all of them, but I don't have the newest, latest, greatest, and it doesn't matter because it's not going to make me any more money. If you can tell me how purchasing a $14,000 lens is going to make you more money faster or get you more jobs, now we can talk about it. Now we're just going to look at how long it's going to take to recoup your money. We're always going to get back to that. But he had nothing to say. And with all that said, he still didn't want to move forward with what I was talking about. He wanted to do what he wanted to do. So I just left it alone.
Well, a lot of times it is that aha moment when they begin to wake up. There are three different areas that I consult with photographers or coach them, whichever one you want to talk. That I push, and the three different areas you have to have mastery in. You have to have mastery in the art. That is, you have to create a good product. If you don't create a good product, learn how to create a good product. Learn how to get better at your photography. You have to have business skills and learn how to master those business skills. And then you have to have finance skills. And all three of them have to work together. Now, when it comes to equipment, one of the biggest mistakes that I made is investing in gadgets. I became a photographer, and I say this jokingly, because I have the heart of an artist, the hands of a brick mason, and I love gadgets. And so I was buying gadgets and buying stuff. Oh, this is pretty cool, and going to trade shows and buying stuff over here and there. And I have got probably, this is no exaggeration, somewhere in my studio and in my storage space, I have probably at least $1 million in equipment tied up. It's getting older and older every day, and I can't buy a Big Mac with it. You
Right.
know, not a Big Mac with it. And I don't make any money with it. So I long time ago learned that if I can't make a profit out of it, I'm not buying it. I don't
Right.
care. Now, whenever I have let my equipment into me, my gas, the gear acquisition syndrome, whenever
Mhm.
I let my gas get a hold of me, it has cost me dearly. Now, I happen to be a Nikon shooter, and I was on a job, doing a job, and I was using the Nikon adapter, and my 28-70 lens, and the motor went out on my lens. Now, then I think, well, let's see here. I have a f4 kit lens that could do the same thing, but well, I don't know that. I really want an f2.8 and 24 to 120, and it's $1,000. Will it make any better pictures?
Right.
Will it make me any more money? No. So I clamp that kit lens on there, do the job, walk off and get paid. And as
Mhm.
you say, I like to walk away with, if I'm going to work a day, I want to walk away with somewhere between $1,600 and $2,000 for that day.
Right.
If I
Mhm.
can't make that, it is very, very difficult
Right.
to get by. But it comes from understanding business, and that you need to find a product that has a large enough market, enough disposable income, and a need and desire for what you do that presents with enough revenue so that it then gives you a standard of living that you want to live at. And you work that way out from it. You don't work the other way around. You don't go around and say, well, I would really like to take photographs of mushrooms. That's probably my favorite thing in this world. I can photograph mushrooms and I can eat mushrooms. Yeah, but you can't eat anything else.
Right.
So you know, find what type of photography you're doing. Sports, I do business and corporate, but somebody else, it could be product, it could be a-
Real estate, food.
right. Those
Yeah.
are real estate. You're right. Real estate, food, those areas right there. And it's not your chances of you ever making a super living being a fashion photographer is slim and none.
Mhm.
You can do fashion, but the chances of you, and now Giles Ben Simone makes, I think he makes it around $30 million a year, and he is one of the top fashion photographers. But there's a handful of top fashion photographers and a whole bunch of people starving. But if you love
Right.
fashion photography and you want to do fashion photography, then position yourself in an area where there are manufacturers, and shoot lookbooks and shoot other demo books. And you can still have your hand in the fashion industry, but you can get paid for those lookbooks regularly. It's all about picking an area of photography that's lucrative.
Right. That is a fact. That is a fact. So I can't see how many viewers we got on, George, but if you have any questions, go ahead and type them in the comments and I'll be happy to answer. And while
Well,
you're thinking about
it
that,
looks like you got a shout out there from Tony.
hey,
Tony
Tony.
Shaw. I think he says, I got, somehow I'm not getting names associated with it, but it says, "Hey, big brother Kendrick Brown finally showed your face." So that
I
sounds
see it.
like Tony Shaw.
I'm waiting for you, Tony, to invite me as well.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get you on the broadcast, so stand by. You're coming up. Your time is coming up. I'm going to call you and get you on because, girl, you're doing it over there on the east side.
Absolutely.
You know, so
Absolutely.
I am thrilled to know that people are moving ahead. And if you aren't, let this be an inspiration to you to get into the business of photography and learn it. And look, I'm not, this is not an advertisement. But I'm going to say, if you don't know what you're doing, find somebody that does and get help from them. You can try to figure it out yourself, and it will take you forever. It doesn't make sense that if you want a successful business and there's somebody that you can give $1,000 to that will take 5 years of your time and shorten that 5 year time down to
Fact.
6 months or a few months, and it only costs you $1,000 to get that information, then pay the people and learn. If you can't afford to pay somebody or somebody to do it, library, YouTube, but you got to go on to search for knowledge and train yourself and learn. I am a big believer in YouTube and some of the YouTube instructors that are on there,
Right.
not only in photography, but in business and in business processes. I'm a Christian, and so I gravitated towards several of these business coaches that use the Bible as a teaching system for teaching business principles. One of them is Myron Golden, who is, I think, phenomenal. He's a multimillionaire. He's a brother out of Tampa, Florida, and he teaches biblical principles. There's a guy named Rabbi Lappin who teaches principles. And learn wherever you go, learn those principles, and then they will improve the quality of your business, and you can live well doing what you want to do, and do that for 5 days. Make it just like a regular business. 5 days, I'm going to photograph whatever it is that pays me, and on the sixth day, I'm going to relax and do nothing but think and move ahead. And on the seventh day, I am going to go into wherever you go to and make all the kind of pictures that I like to make. I photograph all them mushrooms I want to photograph. And I photograph them on one day because I have paid for it by the first 5 days being lucrative.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
Okay. I know I'm ranting right now, but it is a subject that just really fires me up because I want you to succeed. I'm an
Absolutely.
old dude. I'm going to be gone here in a little bit. I'm in the fourth quarter of the game. I got if the Lord is really blesses me, I got 20 more good years. So if you think I'm over the hill, I'm over the hill and picking up speed. Get out of my way because I'm coming.
Right.
But I want to pass this knowledge on to a younger generation. And one of the biggest things I can pass on is inspiration, where you get excited about what you're doing and get excited about business. We have an illustrious history of business people, but what do? We sit around and idolize musicians and sports heroes, and the chances of us ever being going one on one with LeBron is next to nothing. We ain't never gonna make that kind of crazy money. We ain't never gonna beat Nicki Minaj or whoever, Lil Wayne, whatever, Jay-Z. Don't make no difference, whichever one. We're not gonna be those, but we can take what talents we have, refine those talents, find a market for those talents, market according to good, solid business principles, and be a success and a winner. Feed our families, help our community, and have enough left over to be able to give to other people to help them and give them a leg up.
Absolutely. You hit it on the head, and you spoke a little bit about training and a mentor. As you speak of that, in addition to my own business, which is kapphotos.com, it's KAPPHOTOS.com. You can take a look at it. But I also have two business partners. We have a company called Rise Workshops, and you can look that up as well. Website, Facebook, Messenger, etc. And we have our third live workshop coming up next month, actually less than 30 days from now. We'll be in Columbus, Ohio. December 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Go ahead and take a look at it. Go to the website. You can get all the information. And we still have some seats available. We're expecting about 30 people attending. We have about 23, 24 signed up already. It'll be talking about business. We'll have an accountant there. We'll have someone there to talk to you about your future after photography. What are you doing with the funds that you're making now? Of course, we're going to go over lighting and posing and green screen and extractions and composites and all those types of things at the workshop. And then on Sunday, it's going to be hands-on. We taught you Friday, we taught you Saturday. Sunday, we're bringing in the models. It's time for you to show us what you've learned and for you to have us right there on your shoulder to ask questions and deal with any situations you might have, and so that you can replicate what you learn at the workshop in your own venues. And that'll be just in time for you to get ready for the basketball, for the winter sports, basketball, volleyball, and then baseball that's right around the corner, which is the second most lucrative sport, which is baseball. It starts up in March. So hope to see you there. Rise Workshops. Go ahead and go to the website, take a look at it, or go to our private Facebook group. If you are a photographer with a website, that's all you need to join our Facebook group. We have about almost 500 users in there. So looking forward to you. Ask any questions if you have about the workshop, about our volume photography, action photography, what gear we're shooting. Ask away. I'm here for you. And someone said, hey, Kendrick, I can't see who you are. I can't see your name. It just says Facebook user for me. So type in your name so I can see who you are. But thank you, whoever you are.
Yeah, that's all I see is that. Well, again, take that up. If you have any interest at all in sports, go there, take the time, spend the money, go to Columbus, Ohio, and learn. Cut your learning curve in half and get a fast leg up on the competition. And it's not going to be, this business is not, or that this area of photography is not going to be there forever. Pretty soon it's going to get harder and harder to get into it. So this is the time to move and to get involved in it. Did you know that my hometown is Columbus, Ohio?
You mentioned that a couple of weeks ago when I told you that's where we were going to be.
Yeah, I look forward. I would look forward to coming to it. I don't do the sports because, like
Right.
I mentioned to you in the pre-broadcast, I came out with you and saw what you did, and I loved it. I mean, I loved it, but I'm 74 years old, and I'm not going to work that hard.
Right.
This man works. He and his wife are a fine tool machine. They just like one pop, 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 stuff pops up, stuff gets set up in
Yep.
position, bam, bam, zip, 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 and they're doing business. And if you followed me on one of my corporate jobs, it would be the same way because that is
Absolutely.
what I do. But looks like we are running right up against
33
the
minutes.
time slot, so I'm going to go ahead and call it for the evening and say goodbye.
Sounds good.
And be sure. Would you leave a link on or
Camera artist.
information
I
on
will.
Camera Artist Guild's website so that
I
people
will.
who might be interested can come across? Don't pass this up, y'all. Take advantage of it.
There
And
you
tune
go.
in next week because we'll have another photographer or oh, wait a minute, I got to do the image critiques. So I'm going to finish up with Kendrick and jump on over again and do the image critiques. All right, man. You
All
take
right.
care.
Thanks, George. Thank you,
All
everybody.
right.
And thank you, Minister Jamon. I see you. And Tony, thanks for chiming in.
All
Catch y'all
right.
later.
Now let me see here if I can get the screen up here. We're learning how to do stuff. We're learning how to do stuff. Okay, here we go. Really quick. We're gonna be fast with this, and I hope you all enjoyed that. I did, and it seemed to be going really good. So it looks like this is something that we're gonna do more, and we're gonna get continue to add people. So anyway, okay, great. Yeah, I did not pull them over into Photoshop. So I got to get Photoshop up and going. That's a photograph from Willie Demetrius Richardson. How you doing, Willie? I think you must be out there, but I got to get my Photoshop up and images drawn over into it. And oh boy, I hope all of you guys are having a good week. We are having fabulous week. Uh, I am only going to use 3 images this week because we took time up in the interview and I think it was important. There we go. Here is the first image up. Keith Davis. All right, Keith. I don't know whether you're on the broadcast or not. I kind of hope that you are. But this is an interesting photograph, and it's got all the potential of being an excellent photographer. Kids are, this is a young kid, 10, 12, maybe 8 years old. I'm not quite sure. Uh, a couple things that you could do to pick it up just a little bit. Remember when you're photographing children and you got them low, you got to bring your lights down lower too. The lights have to be in the same relationship to the subject, whether they are standing or sitting or this time kneeling. But you can't put the light up where it would be for them standing and then have them kneel and the light pattern appear the same. That's why you got these raccoon eyes, this dark area in and around the eye. Yeah, the eye is, whoops, there we go. We'll enlarge it. Why all of this is going dark underneath here, and you have no catch light in the eye. Catch light in the eye would make those eyes sparkle a little bit. Also, work with your background. You have got a gray shirt and you've got a white background, and they're almost moving into each other here at the shoulders. Number one, because the light is above, is way above, and it's putting a lot of extra light on the shirt. And the secondly, because of the balance between the foreground and the background. The way I do high key is you'll take your subject, put your subject in position. Once your subject is in position, you decide what f-stop you're going to use. I happen to shoot with f5.6. So you set f5.6 is going to be what your key light is. Then you turn off your key light. You set your meter to give you to f5.6, and you go back and you look at the background and you bring that background down to 4.5, 4, something like that, just a little bit below 5.6. You want it now, then you can pull that image over into Photoshop, and what you will have is you'll have a silhouette because there's no key light on the image. And you look to see whether you're getting detail in the hair, whether you're getting halos coming into the image, or whether you have light encroaching on the shoulders. If you do, you got to pull this guy off the background some, and then take your info palette, put the pointer tool up. Now remember, the person is blacked out. Take your pointer tool exactly like I got. Go to your info palette and move it around your info palette and look to see what your RGB rating is. If your RGB rating is 255, 255 is just is if it's 255, reduce the light on the background until you get the light coming onto the background to just barely peak below 255, 253, something like that. That tells you that you have the exact amount of light to produce a white background, but not enough light to turn that white background into a light source. Now you can pump so much light on that background that it will actually act as a light source. It'll still read 255, but if you drop that background light down enough to where it's reading 253, 254, and you move the subject off of the background some, then you will not get this here in the shoulder area, and you will be able to literally take white dress and put it on a white background. Then you want to bring since you are balancing for 5.6, then you want to bring your key light to 5.6 by putting that diffusion dome right about here, because you want your forehead to be center of the grayscale, or center of the digital grayscale. So you put that diffusion dome somewhere along in here, photograph the main light source, or not photograph the main light source, take a reading and reduce or increase the main light source until you get f5.6. Then at that point, you're ready to go. You're good to go. So that ought to give you a little bit of information. Let me see what somebody's saying. It's Kendrick has already put the stuff up. The date and time of the Columbus, Ohio thing. Okay, here we go, John Bowser. Great stuff, John. You got a lot of energy, brother. You love these sets, and congratulations, man. I mean, you do a lot of work to make those elaborate sets, and there's a place for that. And you are really beginning to get good at this. I love your skin tones. They're right where they're supposed to be. Uh, Maybe able to work with the pose just a little bit. And consider there is a tool called Portrait Professional Body, I think it is. And what it will do is it'll map out the body, and then it'll allow you to shrink in the thighs a little bit, the abdominal area just a little bit, take care of that panty line right there so that she looks just a little bit smaller, shrink her arm a little bit, not obscene, but it just helps you tailor that body just a little bit, and it'll really help out a little bit. Okay, there's that, and that's out of the way. And finally, the last one, Willie Demetrius Richardson, and this one's dark, Willie. I love it, man. You have really done it. My congratulations to you. The only thing that I'm looking at is I'm wondering about this little yellow right here, whether that's a plant, and if it is, where maybe I would want to clone it out with a little bit of this greenery to keep the same theme. You got a green color grading or overscale, and you got the clown makeup on the model's face. It kind of reminds me of Day of the Dead, Dias los Muertos, which just came about out here in California. So, and then it also looks like that one face mask they were using. But still, it's a very interesting photograph and very well done. So, congratulations, William. We only got three, and I've run you up on time anyway. So, let's bring things back around. Okay, y'all. This has been a fun packed edition. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. If you please keep your images coming in. If you are new to Camera Artist Guild, or if you're viewing this broadcast on the Camera Artist Guild page, or you're viewing it on YouTube, if you're viewing it on YouTube, do me a favor, hit the like button down below. That'll help me out a lot. Subscribe, do all the rest of that YouTubey stuff. If you are if you are viewing it on Camera Artist Guild page, put up a comment and give us a thumbs up or something like that. Every time you do any sort of action like that on either YouTube or Facebook, it helps me out and it helps things grow. And if you want to get your images examined and critiqued, come on over and join Camera Artist Guild group. It's a group page rather than the Facebook page. There's a Facebook business page, but there's also a group page. And I only pull images from the group page. Sign up for the group, answer a couple questions. I'll bring you into the group. Then all you have to do is do a message and attach your photograph to the message, and it comes up. There's a lot of information on the website. We've been going for quite a while. You can see back issues of the broadcast. You can visit my YouTube channel, George DeLoache, and find back issues if you like. And there's a lot of sources and information. Again, that book I keep mentioning that opened my eyes, Michael Gerber, The E-Myth, check it out. Check out Myron Golden. That is one of my top business people that Myron is amazing. He is amazing and well worth the time. I think you'll enjoy it. Okay, you guys, that pretty much covers it for the day. And I think I'm out of here if I can find the out of here button. Let me see if there's any questions. Do we got any questions? We don't. It doesn't look like it anyway. Okay. You click, 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 click. Okay. Minister Jarman. That's Minister J. What's going on, brother? I love it. How's everything up in the bay? Okay, y'all. We will see you. Tune in next week. Same time, same channel. Take care.